at Dayton 24/7 Now Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, we are still under a code red weather alert tonight. The storm has brought record-breaking cold, icy roads and several inches of snow across the region, and it's not letting up just yet. This system is expected to continue bringing brutal below-zero wind chills through tomorrow morning. So take a look at this time lapse from last night. This was taken outside of our Dayton 24/7 Now studios. You can see the snow drifting due to the high winds there, the piles high in some parts and low enough in others to expose the grass. Now, this time lapse ran for 21 hours. And this system has affected nearly every state in the country. More than 240 million Americans are under winter weather advisories still, as this life-threatening, a once-in-a-generation storm makes its way east. So a live look now in Minneapolis. This area got hit with this system about the same time that we did, and you can see snow on the ground just like we have here in Dayton. And this video shows us just how quickly this system is moving. This is out of Buffalo, New York, but it's similar to, again, what we saw here in the Dayton area. In just 2 hours, in fact, the roads went from being clear to blizzard-like conditions. Hurricane-force winds are expected there, just to give you an idea of how severe this storm is. Now, the entire state of New York remains under a state of emergency tonight. And back here in our area now, a live look from our Kettering Health Skycam. You can see things look pretty quiet out there, but you can't see the cold. So we have team reporters are spread out across the Miami Valley to help give you a better idea of what's happening around the area. We want to start now with Nick, who is in for Natalie tonight. And Nick, this storm brought snow, strong winds, and record-breaking temperatures to the area.
We broke a 60-year-old temperature record here in Dayton. 9 is the new record. The previous record was set in 1960, so a long-running record, but one that we broke rather easily earlier on this morning. Now, it wasn't just the temperatures that were really, really brutal. It was also the wind chills. Wind chills right now. Upper 20s, low 30s. Earlier on this morning, we did have 1 or 2 low 40s wind chills. That's where you talk about absolutely brutal cold, the type of cold that can produce frostbite in less than 10 minutes. Now, since that period, the winds have ever so slowly begun to diminish. We're now 23 sustained in Dayton, 25 in Troy. At our peak, we were 30 to 35. The biggest issue with the winds isn't just the cold, it's also the snow. Here's how much we saw. Dayton, 2.7. The heaviest snow in our region, that was in Cincinnati, but Columbus also just shy of 5 inches. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, 3.2 when it came to how much snow. Now, this is very light snow, very tough to measure, and because of that, blows and drifts easily, which meant a lot of us had travel issues earlier today.
All right, thanks so much. And multiple counties in the Miami Valley remain under snow emergencies tonight. Here's a breakdown of what that means. Level 1 means that you should use extreme caution. Level 2 means only essential travel. And level 3 means you only should see emergency vehicles out on the roads. They're the only ones allowed at that point. Auglaize has been upgraded to a level 3 snow emergency. Again, that means only emergency vehicles should be out on the roads. Champaign, Clark, Darke, Greene, Montgomery, Mercer, and Preble counties, though, all under a level 2 snow emergency as we speak. So again, only get behind the wheel in those counties if it's absolutely essential. Well, if you've been following along on social media at all this afternoon, you've likely seen this video of a crash out of Sandusky, this massive pileup happening on the Ohio Turnpike. Tonight, we've learned 50 vehicles were involved. Troopers say at least 1 person has been killed and several others hurt. The turnpike remains closed at this hour. Now, the weather also causing scenes like this captured by our reporter Mamie Baugh this morning in Shelby County. You can see the truck here slid right off the road into a guardrail. Now, these bad driving conditions have persisted throughout the day around the Miami Valley. So we want to check in now with Melena Brown, who is out monitoring the roads for us. She is live tonight in the first warning weather vehicle. And Melena, how are things looking right now where you are?
Hi, Megan. Right now, I am headed up I-75 north towards Dayton, right outside downtown. The weather conditions are not good and they are not improving right now. As you can see, I just flipped the cam. Visibility is still extremely low. The high winds have snow blowing across the highway, which is causing snow to be not only on the road, but also in the air. It is slick, it's slippery, and drivers that are out do need to pay attention and make sure that they do not hit any black ice. So I've seen multiple cars in ditches and turned around. We actually just passed 2 cop cars that were stopped because there was a car in a ditch. So it is still very, very dangerous if you are out on the road. The press secretary of ODOT told me today that they've had multiple plow trucks out preparing for days, but unfortunately working against these harsh weather conditions has not been easy.
Where our plow crews have been plowing the snow off, the snow comes right back on with the wind. So it's just been a constant battle with Mother Nature, and that battle is going to continue probably well into Saturday as well.
Melena, obviously it's best if everyone would just stay home tonight, but for many that's not going to be possible. So if viewers have to head out, what do they need to keep in mind then?
Yes, Megan, AAA actually released driving tips. If you take a look on your screen now, they are going to pop up. One would be to slow down. There is no reason to drive fast right now. Do not tailgate. Watch when traffic is ahead in case they are slowing down. Never use cruise control in these conditions because of it being slippery and there being black ice. Try to use extreme caution when going against bridges and overpass. They can get extra icy. Also, move over for emergency vehicles or the plow trucks. And it's also very, very important that you keep a winter weather kit in your car. The Miami Valley AAA has received over 500 calls as of 3 p.m. today from midnight last night. Megan, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Melena. Now, again, emergency crews have been busy all day today responding to calls. Montgomery County Sheriff Rob Strack is on the phone with us now. Sheriff, thanks for taking the time to talk with us. I know Montgomery County is right now under a level 2. What are the conditions that led to you making that decision?
The conditions are simply the amount of ice that is under the snow you see on the ground, and then the blowing and drifting snow. The amount of ice is causing all kinds of havoc on our roadways, and unfortunately today, because of how cold it was, we just weren't able to get a good feel for how much it was even able to melt, which was probably almost none.
Just how busy have your crews been today?
My crews have been going from crash to crash to crash all day. We still are.
Now, if people, we say if you have to go out, only be out if it's absolutely necessary. How much is that helping if people would just stay home? Because obviously the more cars out, the more calls you're going to have.
Yeah, it's a huge help because once again, I don't think people realize how many crashes and how many slide off the roads we're having right now. And that's not even the amount of people who are not even able to make it up slight inclines on our roadways, which obviously that takes assistance to get them out. So, yeah, the best thing to do is just stay home on a night like tonight.
Is this something you expect to be an issue throughout the weekend, or hopefully by tomorrow it'll come to an end?
I think as of right now, we're kind of expecting it to be through the weekend. Hopefully the trucks and ODOT and all our other public works guys out and gals out there working can help clear. But as cold as it is right now, I think we're going to have some issues all weekend.
All right. Thanks so much, Sheriff Rob Strack. Thank you again for your time tonight, and we hope your crew stays safe out there. Now, with these strong winds and below normal temperatures, many area residents are struggling to stay warm due to power outages. So Clara Faith is live just outside of our station on our exclusive Watson's Weather patio. Clara, what is AES Ohio saying about these outages?
This morning, nearly 5,600 residents was without power, including myself. And right now, nearly 7,600 residents are without power. I have seen AES trucks earlier on the roads working to help gain back power for residents. And the AES spokesperson says crews are working hard with these current weather conditions, Megan.
And Clara, did they have any advice on what to do if you are one of those that lose power?
Well, first off, residents should put their safeties first by staying warm and stay away from dangerous power lines. And AES says if your power does go out, go to the AES website or call 877-468-8243. Now back to you guys in studio.
All right, thanks so much, Claire. Well, the storm impacting the entire state right now. So let's check in with Tom Bosco, who's been in Delaware County throughout the day. Tom.
Just north of Columbus in Delaware County, this parking lot here at the outlet malls should be packed 2 days before Christmas, but it is a windy, windswept, snow-blown ghost town right now because of this weather. It is cold. Take a look. This is I-71. You know, there's a lot of traffic on it, more traffic than I think the governor would prefer after the comments he made yesterday, but it is moving slow. I talked to one man traveling from Cleveland to Cincinnati. He described conditions on 71 as brutal.
Ice most of the way, 35, 40 miles an hour on average.
That's a 2-hour trip. What's it taken you so far?
A little over 3 to get to here.
Around central Ohio, a variety of snow emergency levels. Delaware County at level 2. Just to the west, Union County, that's Marysville at level 3. A mix of those kind of 2 and 3 levels around the region. Guys, back to you in the warm studios.
All right, thanks, Tom. Yeah, it's nasty out there, so it is highly suggested just to stay indoors until this winter blast passes. Alex King tells us about some of the local shelters open to help our communities most vulnerable.
Area homeless shelters are urging people to stay inside. I'm here at Daybreak, which is an emergency shelter for people 10 to 21 years old. It's a place for homeless youth to stay warm while they're experiencing this winter weather. St. Vincent de Paul's warming shelter is just down the street. When the temps get below 25 degrees, shelters let people stay there longer. If you know of someone who needs help, some of these facilities will pick them up. Staff in the homeless system are trained to identify possible hypothermia, frostbite, and other cold weather related health conditions. Back to you guys in studio.
Alex, thanks. And we do have all of those locations and all of this information on Dayton247now.com. Just find this story right there on our homepage. And you can also scan this QR code up on your screen right now. That'll let you download our Dayton 24/7 Now app. The free app will send you breaking news and weather alerts so that you know what to expect with this storm. It's always free to download in any app store.
And the cold weather still continues across the area. Temperatures are still below zero. It is going to be a cold and bitter cold night.
And after the break, we're going to continue our coverage of how this storm is affecting the Miami Valley. Travelers at the airport across the state are facing mass cancellations and delays. We're going to check in with Lydia Bice, who is live right now at Dayton International Airport tonight. You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Lots of visual experiments demonstrating today's bitter cold. In Montana, a viewer says it took less than 9 minutes to freeze an egg to a pan. In San Antonio, where the temperature was 15 degrees, meteorologist Brad Souter left his soaking wet clothes outside. They froze solid in 15 minutes. And then there are the people who throw boiling water into bitter cold air, only to see it quickly condense into water droplets, then freeze into ice crystals.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
I don't know exactly what temperature you can throw up boiling water. All I know is this is plenty cold enough, whether or not you can actually perform a science experiment. It is 7 right now in Bellefonte, -3 right now in Troy, -3 as well in Dayton. When you factor in the winds, and this has been the biggest thing of today, -20 is what it feels like in Troy, -20 in Salina, -31 at this hour in Greenville. Earlier this morning, we had wind chills 30, almost approaching 40 below. Later on, as we get towards midnight, we'll watch this slowly trick up. Now, this is the frostbite time. When it's lower, it's bad. When it's higher, it's still not great, but at least it's not 10 minutes. That's where we were earlier today. We'll still be under 30 minutes. So tomorrow morning, you have to dress warmly, because if you don't, it's still life-threatening in under 30 minutes. You can develop frostbite and any associated issues. As we get into Saturday, we'll still have single-digit below zero wind chills, and we'll continue with temperatures in the teens and 20s below. Let me rephrase, that's what it feels like all the way through Sunday morning. This is going to be a brutally cold pattern for the next 24, even 36 hours.
All right, thanks so much, Nick. And you can help us cover this storm by showing us what you're seeing where you are, as long as it's safe to do so. Take a look at some of these images submitted today by our viewers. Early this morning, a car sliding off State Route 741. Check this out, high winds and blowing snow all across the area like you see here, as well as roads covered in snow. This was down in the Oregon district, and of course covering people's yards and homes too. So thanks to everyone who shared pictures and videos today. We have created a new winter weather bubble, so if you have something to share, grab your phone and scan this QR code. That'll take you right to our Chime In page, and you can upload your photos or videos right to us. You might even see them again right here on Dayton 24/7 now. Well, a live look at FlightAware's delay and cancellation tracker. You can see more than 8,000 flights have been canceled today alone, and there are nearly 23,000 delays. Looking ahead to tomorrow, you can see nearly 2,000 flights have already been canceled, and there are 839 delays already issued. Now, with all of these cancellations and delays, there are a lot of passengers stranded at airports across the country, including Dayton International tonight. Lydia Bice is there now. Lydia, what are you seeing? Are many people still out?
Well, luckily the road conditions have improved vastly around Dayton International Airport since this morning. We thought, based on earlier conditions, that it may take us around an hour to get here this evening from Miamisburg. Luckily, it was just about 35 minutes. But as you can see behind me, there are very few people here at the airport tonight due to a lot of delayed and canceled flights.
Lydia, what about those flight cancellations? Do you have any idea how many there have been?
Now, out of the 6 flights scheduled to leave Dayton International tonight, 5 of those are canceled. You can see here I have the airport tracker pulled up on my phone, where you can find a whole list of flights that were scheduled to arrive to Dayton International Airport or scheduled to leave. And a lot of those, like I said, are delayed or canceled. Now, I'll be at the airport all night providing you an update on road conditions here in Vandalia and on any travel issues that we're hearing about. So I'll be back with all of that at 10 and 11. Live in Vandalia, Lydia Bice, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
All right, thanks so much, Lydia. And remember to scan this QR code up on your screen. That's going to let you download the Dayton 24/7 Now app. The free app is going to send you breaking news and weather alerts so that you know what to expect with this storm at every minute. It's always free to download, and you can find it in any app store. And also visit Dayton247now.com for updates and information on this weather maker as well.
It's not just the cold, it's the wind that's going to be a factor overnight. But at least at this point, we've got good news, which is no more snow. So the snow really ended by about, I would say, 7, 8 in the morning. And then from there, it's going to remain cloudy. Thank gosh for the clouds. If this went clear, we'd probably be looking at temperatures all the way in the teens, maybe even approaching 20 below if the winds settled down. Now, that being said, with the winds and temperatures still below zero, it's probably going to feel well like it is in the teens and 20s below. For tomorrow, we'll warm up to 10. I've never been excited to see 10, but here we are. We will be looking at temperatures in the single digits through Sunday afternoon. Now, that being said, the biggest travel impacts overnight tonight through early tomorrow. If you are traveling tonight, it probably should be for essential only, because we are talking about the potential for icy spots still. We're also seeing blowing and drifting, and those are the roadways that have been plowed. Those are the roadways that have been treated. Once you start talking about the more rural areas, the areas that haven't been treated, those are going to be big problems. And then for Saturday, more blowing and drifting snow is likely. Sunday, it's diminishing winds. Worth pointing out, overnight tonight through tomorrow, we're still code red because we are expecting the wind chills, teens and 20s below. It may not be as headline worthy as 30 and 40 below, but it's still dangerous and still enough to become life-threatening if you do not take proper precautions.
All right, thanks so much. And like you just heard, we are in for another bitterly cold night here in the Miami Valley. Still ahead, we're going to check back in with Nick in just a few minutes for when more snow could be possible.
But first, it's time for your TikTok of the day. Today, Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters explains a pretty outrageous concern that will be happening in Florida this weekend.
Falling iguanas are likely this weekend in Florida. Iguanas are cold-blooded, so when the temperature drops below 40 degrees, they start to slow down or their bodies become immobile, and if they're in the trees, they're just going to end up falling to the ground. So as Arctic air takes over this weekend in Florida, you'll want to be aware of those falling
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
All right, a live look at Troy's downtown square now. You can see traffic is still moving okay, but snow is on the ground. We want to check back in with Nick for an overview of what we can expect as the evening moves on.
Well, I think it's going to be more of what we saw at the Troy traffic circle, which is slow-moving traffic and some rather gusty winds. Right for now, the winds 20, 30 miles per hour to sustain, a little bit less so than what we saw earlier, but there's still a couple of 35s at Bellefontaine, 33. It is still pretty windy to the northeast of Dayton. As for right now, 35 is the top gust in Auglaize. We've got 36 in Greenville, 35 in Richmond, 31 in Dayton. So these have come down significantly from earlier where we were having gusts into the 50s. Now, that being said, the winds and temperatures will make it feel absolutely brutal, and we're still going to have at least some travel issues, mainly on the side roads. I still think the main roads are going to be very slow. In terms of visibility, it'll be patchy, and the power outages, I think the worst in terms of weather-caused power outages should be over. -2 for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow itself, 10. That represents a nice little warm-up considering where we have been. 12 degrees on Sunday. Monday is your next chance of light snow. I don't want to get too far in the weeds. Let's get past this one before we start talking about Monday's impacts. But the second half of next week looks significantly warmer. Again, tonight, brutally cold. Tomorrow, going to start cold and slowly but surely warming up.
Lots of headlines there to look at. All right, thanks so much. Our weather coverage is going to continue for you right now over on Fox 45.